Le ua ke kanaka la mai ae, pa mai ka makani ko o la lele, I ka ele kue. Ke pa mai nei ka makani kona, I ka ele moe me ke ala lipoa, mali e ke kai ani ani, po olo olo u ki kai olo koe ie. E ana au au e ha o Molokai, o ka ele lani, o ka ele honua, o ka ele ku, o ka ele moe. He mele no na au au e ha o Molokai.
E nā kumu, nā haumāna, nā kupuna, nā ohana. I akoakoa mai nei ke iala, mai nae a lalo, mai koʻolau a ikona. Ke aloha nui, ke aloha loa, ke aloha aha ʻopio i a kākou a pauloa. Aloha. E hoi ka iwi kua moʻo. He ʻōlelo no e au ke ia, I kaulana I ka wā kahiko. A o ka manao ke ia, e hoi ke kahua, nona mai e paa ai ko kākou pikoʻu, ko kākou mauli, he Molokai. Maka imi ana I ke ia iwi kua moʻo o kākou. A pono kākou e ninau I ke ia mau ninau. O wai oe, nā wai oe, no hea mai oe. Ma hea kou aina kuleana, he aha kou kuleana. A pehea oe e auamo nei I ke ia mau kuleana. Ua hiki a kākou e nā ʻopio, ke noiʻi, ke imi, a e noke hoi I ke aʻo, a na awao kākou I ke ia mau haina no ke ia mau ninau. Ma ka ninau ele ana I nā kupuna, nā ohana. A no ka mea, ma o ke ia hana, e aʻo I kākou I nā moʻolelo, a me ka moʻo kuʻauhau, e paa ai ko kākou kahua. A no ka mea, o ka moʻolelo, a me nā haʻawina e pili ai, a me ka moʻo kuʻauhau, a me nā kuleana e pili ai. E paa ai, a e iwi ai ko kākou kua moʻo, ko kākou kahua, I ko kākou ohana, ko kākou kuleana, I ko kākou kaiaulu, ko kākou pikoʻu, ko kākou mauli, he Molokai. A mali anō paha, he malihini paha ka ohana. A kahi ane e komo mai I Molokai nei, I ke ia hanauna, a I hoʻokahi a ʻelua paha hanauna I ka ʻaha Ōpio akula. A ale no he pilikia, a no ka mea, he kuleana ko laila. A oia hoi, e hoʻihi, a e mahalo I nā moʻolelo, a me nā moʻo kuʻauhau I noho papa mai I Molokai nei, no nā kene kulia I ka ʻaha Ōpio akula. A no laila e nā kumu, e nā haumana, nā kupuna, nā ohana, I akoakoa mai nei ke ia la, no ke ia ʻaha ʻopio nei. E hoʻomanaʻo kākou I ke ia ʻōlelo no e au. E hoʻi no I ka iwi kua moʻo. I paa ai ko kākou kahua, he Molokai. I paa ai ko kākou kahua, he Hawaiian. Ano laila e pani kākou I ke ia mahele haʻi ʻōlelo a e wehe kākou I ka ʻaha ʻopio me ka leo pule. A e hoʻomalu kākou I ka leo pule, e pule kākou. A e ke akua mana loi loko kalani, ke akua nāna mai kalania me ka honua a me nā mea apau e pihai. E mākou ka poʻe o Molokai, e pule aku nei ia oe, e hozana aku nei ia oe no ke ia la nani, e akoakoa mai ai nā kumu, nā haumāna, nā kupuna, nā ohana, e aʻo ai I nā moʻolelo, me nā mea e Molokai ai mākou ka poʻe o Molokai. Mahalo aku mākou ia oe ke akua no ke ia wā e akoakoa ai maluna o ke ia ʻenehana, e aʻo ai I nā mea e pono ai, a e hoʻiki aku ai I nā mea a nā haumāna nā ʻopio o Molokai. Mahalo aku mākou ia oe ke akua no ke ola o ka hālua o ke kaiaulu o Molokai nei I loko o ke ia poʻe ʻopio. Nā haumāna hoʻi e aʻo nei, e imi nei, e noke nei kana awao, e pono ai ko lākou ola, e mau ai nā moʻo kuʻauhau o Molokai nei. E kala mai ʻoe ia mākou I ko mākou lawehala ana. E kala hoʻi I ka poʻe I lawehala I ka mākou. Nā ono e ke akua, e oki hoʻokaʻawale aku I nā alaina nā hihia Kau keʻa mai ana I keia ʻenehana nei, oki hoʻokaʻawale aku. A nonoi aku mākou e hozana aku nei ia ʻoe ke aku, e hoʻomaikaʻi aku nei, e mahalo aku nei, a e mihi aku nei ia ʻoe. Me ka leo pule, e pule pualu, mākou I ka leo pule lana kila, makaukau a pule. Ke hoʻomaikaʻi aku nei mākou ia ʻoe e Yehova ko mākou akua. A me Iesu ko mākou hoʻola, a me ka uhane he molele ko mākou kōkua. Amene, amene, amene. E nā kumu, nā haumāna, nā kupuna, nā ohana I akoakoa mai nei keia la mahalo I ke hui ana o kākou. E hoi no kākou I ka iwi kua moʻo. Aloha.
Aloha, my name is Terry Sims, and I am the principal at Kilohana Elementary School on the beautiful east side of Molokai. I believe education on Molokai can be foundational as well as innovative. We can embrace the basics that we all need to know and learn as we use them in new and exciting ways. I see opportunities every day for our keiki to learn from their ohana, their kupuna, their friends, as well as their kumu. With continued community support, a variety of experiences both inside and outside of the classroom is available to our keiki. As the Alelo Noiao states, all knowledge is not taught in the same school. Our keiki want to be challenged. They want to make their mark on the world, and Molokai is in a great position to support these goals. Our students can be grounded in their sense of place and their sense of belonging as they can continue to learn about their world. They can show the world that it does take a village to grow an innovative and excited child. Mahalo.
Aloha, I'm Allison Place. I'm the TA principal at Mahalo School, and I have worked on Molokai in education for over 30 years. I think that, I know that Hawaiian education is extremely important for our students because they need to know who they are. They need to know their sense of identity, their sense of place, and they need to know how they fit into the world. And then also they need to know that they have something very, very valuable to share with their community, to share with the world. And in my years of teaching, I have seen how very talented and very passionate our students are. And I really believe that our education here on Molokai can capitalize on that because we already have a sense of an understanding of sustainability. Our kids already know a lot of what new curriculum are trying to teach. And so I think we can capitalize on that by providing them opportunities to be problem solvers and to be inquiry-based learners to find out solutions to problems in their own backyard. And I think that our education here on the island can do that and do that well, so that all the doors open for our kids, whether they choose to stay on Molokai or whether they choose to live elsewhere. They should have the whole world and have access to it and have the skills to do what they're passionate about. Mahalo.
Aloha, my name is Kainoa Pali. I'm a principal of Molokai Middle School, and I welcome you to the 5th annual Aha Ōpio event. I was asked a question about education on Molokai. My manao on education is that education is learned in a moment. It allows us to appreciate the little things, but I also feel that education allows us to move forward. Sometimes we use education to reflect on the past because it also helps us provide guidance as we move forward. Overall, education is a key that will help us embrace the future. Education will also help us honor the past. And, education allows us to live in a moment. And I say those things because on Molokai, we have a unique island, whether it's Mo'olelo, or whether it's Kupunas, or whether it's the Aina itself. So therefore, education is important. It's just a matter of how we look at it and how we move forward. Thank you. Mahalo no.
Hawaiian education matters because we live in Hawaii. And for Molokai High School, we have over 80% of our students that are Native Hawaiian. They should be learning about where they come from. They should be learning about our island, our culture, the language. It is our responsibility as the people of Hawaii to carry on these traditions and this knowledge and the skills of ancestors. So that is why Hawaiian education is important.
Mahalo to Nahulu mai oho for the pule he offered this morning to begin the program. And I'm Penny Martin, and we have Auntie Charlotte Seals with us. And we are going to moderate this program together. So Auntie Charlotte will introduce the panel today.
Okay. All right. Mahalo, Penny. Mahalo nui. Okay. So I'm going to, in the order that I introduce you is the way there's the same, what we're going to do when the questions go around. We're going to use that same format. So Matt Yamashita is our first panelist. And Quasi, is that Quasi Films Media? Polole, Matt. Okay. Kumu Val, Kumu Hula Halau, Nohi Hiku Puhalau Lani. Ooh, I might have messed that one up a little bit, Val. And then Kaimana Kahale, which is a graduate research assistant and student at the University of Utah, course of study, education. And Anela Albino, Kumu consulted here on our wonderful island of Molokai. So these are our participants or our panelists for today.
So this is our AHA Summit, the Aha Ōpio Summit. And we are using the AHA guidelines today for our panel. And so the AHA, I don't know if you guys are familiar with AHA, but it has to do with the DOE. It's the na hopena au. So hopena au is HA, and HA equals in Hawaiian breath, right? And so this is a framework of outcomes that reflects the DOE's core values and belief in action throughout public education in Hawaii. HA reflects the uniqueness of Hawaii and is meaningful in all places of learning. And so hopena means end goals, results of action, and au is learning and teaching. So na hopena au, HA, those are the acronyms, and then HA equals breath in Hawaiian. And then every letter in breath, B-R-E-A-T-H, means something. And so B in the whole hopena au framework, B is sense of belonging, and E is excellence. And of course, all of these values go together, and you cannot, the B, the R, sense of responsibility, E for excellence, A for aloha, T for total well-being, and H for Hawaii and aloha. But you cannot you cannot express one value or exercise one value without doing the other, because they're all linked. You know, they all come together, and they all work together, and it's hard to show. It's hard to have total well-being without having a sense of belonging, or without having aloha. And so you're going to see as we move on today how they all work together. But today we're actually going to focus on B, sense of belonging, and E, working our way towards excellence. And so without further ado, we will, I'll give it back to Auntie Charlotte so she can begin the first section of our panel today.
Okay, sense of belonging. And my question is to all of you, and I'm going to start with Matt, and as I introduced all of you, is Aina Momona a sense of belonging and he pili vehena ole, a relationship that cannot be undone? All right, and here is the question, everybody. I know you folks had time to to think about it. How does a sense of belonging, pilina influence, that is relationships, your work toward a thriving island? Matt, we're going to start with you.
Okay, Mahalo, that's a good question. I just want to thank all you guys for having me be a part of this conversation today, first of all. So mahalo nui for that. It's great to be on the screen with all of you. Yeah, you know, I guess I got to think a little bit about that idea of like thriving. What was it? Towards a thriving island. You know, my career is I'm a filmmaker. I've been making films for the last 20 years, and essentially that's like a storyteller, right? And my filmmaking, for me in my life, my filmmaking started from the time I was born, basically, because growing up, I got to spend a lot of time with my grandparents and other uncles and aunties and kupuna on this island, and hearing stories. And those stories, as a child, I was always enthralled by them. I loved storytelling, especially the way the kupuna tell stories. Takes you to another place, and it teaches you so many things, whether you're conscious about what you're learning or not, right? In hindsight, I realized how much lessons are embedded in the storytelling, whether you are fully like aware of it or not when you're hearing it as a child, right? And so, you know, by the time I was in high school, or even before high school, I was, you know, I loved writing. I loved essays, stories, you know, writing short stories, and then I discovered in high school that I really had a passion for filmmaking, and that was thanks to Glenn Kondo and the computer lab at Molokai High School. And you know, from there is like I knew exactly what I wanted to study in college, studied film, and I came home after getting my film degree, and my whole career since then has been storytelling and sharing stories of Molokai, sharing stories of Hawaii, sharing stories about cultural preservation, as well as environmentalism and conservation. And to me, again, it all goes back to this sense of connection, learning about who I am in this world through the stories that were shared with me as a child, that helped me like feel like, yeah, this is who I am, and this is what my kuleana is in terms of what I am to share with others, right? Through the work that I have chosen in my life. And so, you know, in more recent years, I've been able to travel all around the world and tell other stories to other people. But for me, the most important stories always come back to our home, our island, and how we are connected to this place, and how we want to be represented and understood by the outside world. And really, I feel like that's my kuleana, is educating people outside of Molokai about what makes this place so special, and why we need to be respected, and why our place needs to be respected, so that we can protect what we have. And ultimately, I think all the stories I heard growing up are about that identity, connection, and our each of our kuleana and responsibility in moving that into the future.
Can I hear you? But thank you, Matt, for that, and thank you, Charlotte.
Yes. So again, thank you, Penny. And just to let you folks all know too, what you share today, you know, because our children are going to, in the schools, will get to hear you guys mana'o. And that will be a light there, that you will be enlightening their lives as well. So just to let you know, Matt, that was awesome. Very, very good mana'o. All right, our next is Kumuvel. And so you, on the same question, you know, how does sense of belonging, Pilina, influence your work towards a thriving island?
Aloha, everybody. Aloha. So I guess I don't know why I'm a little bit nervous right now, but anyway, I think it all started because I was dancing and I wanted to see our culture kind of striving hula dancers. And all of this was kind of thrown on me when I was young, maybe like 30 years ago, started teaching and not knowing. Then finally getting to this point of everybody wants to take hula, I felt that now was pretty much my time to get out there and start something. So I actually started with Auntie Moana, and after Auntie Moana had passed away, Raquel took over. And the way I was trying to go a little bit farther, so interruptions, but and as an alakai, I realized that the way Raquel teaches, I saw different things, which this is her and this is the way she teaches, but I had other visions of the way I wanted to teach. And so I had to leave for those reasons and ask for permission to leave for those reasons so I could continue doing what I'm doing, but in the way I could do it. And the only way I could do that was to leave. So I asked for permission to leave. And of course, it wasn't really, I felt that it was kind of disrespectful in a sense because it is a family genealogy. But sometimes you have to go on your own and you have to take that step to try to do things the way you want to. But still, you know, you're still a branch of your own halau. So that's what I ended up doing. And then I felt that the children, you know, had so many kids that I was teaching. And then when I was teaching them, they didn't want to leave me. They wanted to stay. So it was hard because I was actually teaching for Moanas at first. And then they would go to her. And then after I realized they didn't want to leave, and then when I go to practices, Raquel had her own way of teaching. And I felt that that was good. However, she teach was the way she teach, but I needed more than that. And I needed to kind of do what I wanted to do. So when I did that, I felt really good about myself because I could finally have control of what I wanted. And so after teaching all the kids, I started learning a lot through the children. And that's what made me very excited, I think, about being in control is just having that time to spend with them and bond with them and see what needed to be done more in hula. And I learned a lot actually. I learned that through hula, you know, the stories are very, very important. And without the stories, the hula really means nothing. And so I started using the stories and teaching them how to use the stories and how to create beautiful dances through the stories. And all of that took a lot of time because, you know, you don't just dance, you start to feel and you start to use your eyes to express when you're dancing, and you start to use your motions and you start to choreograph. And all of this combined together started feeling so real. And so when we dance, the children, even as young as like Lexi, even with her, it's like now she can tell you what the true meaning of hula is. And so that's kind of what I love doing for the island. And I see that there's so many kids that really like come to hula, but there's no place to go. And so although I feel like a baby in teaching because I just went out on my own in 2015 and being told that, you know, it's not easy, it's hard, and you're going to figure it out, and you're going to have to figure it out, and you're going to have a hard time. And I didn't really understand it until now. I understand how hard it is, but, you know, I still went on and I still move forward, and we dance for the uncrews and we do our own educational show, and I just enjoy it, and the kids enjoy it and the adults enjoy it. So I don't really look at it as it's a culture, but then I see everybody as one color and a person. So it doesn't matter on the color of your skin or whatever it is. If you enjoy dancing, then I enjoy teaching. And sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating, you know, to dance for locals and to dance for tourists. Tourists is so much easier because they don't really understand. But when you dance for locals, they're kind of like a judgmental towards people. So I really I really see myself as a baby in this area, and I'm learning through everything that I do, and I totally enjoy it, and I just love it, and I love children, so it makes it so much easier for me to teach. And the children all starts to love you, and you start to work all together, and it becomes an ohana. And I think that's what I love about it. So I have like sleepovers where we can all bond together, and everybody can get closer, so we can all get to know each other better. And so we have a really good time. And this is a reason I think I started teaching, was because not too many kumuhulas out there that teach on this island, and you need somebody to do it. And since I've been dancing my whole life, why not? Why not carry it on? And so that's the reason why I did it.
Thank you, Val. That was my ka'i. It was really my ka'i. I know sometimes we can get a little nervous, but I'm enjoying just listening to you guys, mo'olelo, even your mana'o, even with Matt as well. But you folks all came back to the stories, the mo'olelo, you know, the common thread. But thank you, Val, so much. That was, yeah, thank you. It's all good. So now I am going to have Kaimana to come up and share. Do I need to repeat that question, Kaimana?
I think I got it. But yeah, I just wanted to start off and thank all of you folks for allowing me to hop on this panel and kuka with everyone. You know, I'm kind of in my infancy when it comes to my career path and how I'm working with our community here. You know, like Anake Charlotte said, I'm a graduate student at the University of Utah, and I've been really fortunate to continue my education while also being able to be virtual and stay at home. And I think that's allowed me to strengthen some of the bonds and relationships that I have with my community. You know, I primarily work with, you know, middle school students as of right now, that is. You know, I will sub at the high school, middle school. I'm a coach. So, you know, I think on the question of belonging, that's something that I kind of meditate a lot on, not just in terms of how I can represent a sense of belonging that I grew up here with and how I can kind of maybe ingrain that in some of the students and people that I work with, but also kind of reflecting like how did my sense of belonging shape who I am and how I am continuing my educational path. And you know, I was born in the mainland and I lived there for quite some time, so I consider myself from Molokai, but I'm also a diasporic Hawaiian. I've you know, I've been in the mainland too, not just growing up, but in school. So I've been away from home for quite some time. And when I come back to Molokai, I'm always just blown back by the amount of aloha and love and respect that people have, not just for one another, but for their surroundings, the Aina, you know, and upholding a lot of their values. And I think in that process, it has solidified a lot of my sense of belonging here. But how I kind of translate that to my work and the things that I do, you know, I think a lot of what's important with education, especially in Native communities like Molokai, is presence, right? Physical presence of someone who either looks like you, who has some sort of understanding of the cultural background, or just is somebody you see on the street all the time, or you go to friendly market and you see in the store, right? It's somebody that you have a relationship with. And I try to make sure that I'm kind of embodying that relational type of state when I'm working with students, right? I think fundamentally every issue and problem and solution comes down to boils down to relationships, right? And so when I'm coaching football, for example, or when I am in the classroom and I'm teaching as either a sub or middle school or high school teacher, right? I constantly try and ground myself and put myself in the shoes of the students, right? Because I remember being in high school and middle school and not knowing what I wanted to do, and kind of wanting some sort of mentor figure or somebody who had the same interests as me to kind of not necessarily hold my hand, but guide me in a direction that maybe I wanted to pursue, right? And so that's one aspect. I hope that answers the question. I also mentioned that I am a graduate research assistant at the University of Utah, and one of my goals and the goals for the initiative that I work for, the Pacific Island Studies Initiative at the U, we're trying to establish this pipeline, right? This route, so that we can get Pacific Islanders, and in my case here in Molokai, Native Hawaiians, to attend the university, or not just at the University of Utah, but any sort of institution that they want to go to, right? A lot of, I don't want to generalize this, but a lot of Native Hawaiian high school and middle school students, there's this sense that, I don't know if I can pursue higher education, or I don't know if I want to do this route in my career, right? And it's not necessarily because they don't want to, it's because maybe they don't have the right tools, or the upbringing, or a set of values, or even just, like I said, going back to presence, right? The presence of somebody like that in a classroom setting or in an environment. And so, in thinking about that, I try and, present myself as somebody who was in their shoes, but also someone who can help them navigate where they want to go, wherever they want to go, not just in college. But yeah, that's it for me.
That is awesome, Kaimana. That means our future is in good hands. Good for you. Mai kai, I love it. I love it. I love what you everything that I've heard from all three of you so far has been awesome. But we're in good hands, Kaimana. Just wonderful. And so our last panelist is Anela Albino, our community loves Molokai, consultant, ready to, like Auntie Penny was saying earlier, kind of behind the scenes kind of thing. But I've heard you talk one time at a meeting, and you get them. Once we start to follow all us, we're on already, and so no can stop sometimes, but real good, positive. So Anela, you want me to repeat the question, or you get them?
No, I get them, Auntie.
You get them. All right. Okay, so now I'm gonna.
Okay, well, I was just pondering about, HA. I was thinking about HA, because HA is like really important to me. It's life, of our Hawaiian people, and that is one powerful aspect to look at. Yeah. So growing up in the deeply immersed in the culture, as everything we worked with, we dealt with, was related to the culture, tradition, and we did something and we would get scolded, like, hey, be in a house before dark, because daytime is our time, nighttime is their time, and I never understand a lot of the stuff that I was told growing up, So what I starting to see it now that I'm older, I have children of my own, and I can I sit down and I can talk story with my kupuna on a different level instead of being on keiki, because we get scolding, we get licking when we was young, pula ia, get in the house, no ask question, just listen and follow. So what we were always taught was akua, aina, kanaka. you know, and one popular olelo no ea was he ali'i ka aina he kaua ke kanaka. So the aina is the king and we are subject to it. You know, Aina was here before us. So much went happen in the aina, so much remain in the aina, and we are its stewards. You have to take care. So a lot of our identity is found there. You know, that's what I feel. So over the years, I've studied, pondered, listened, you know, but I think it's been the last 10 years that I've really started to embrace it. And after embracing it, it's become more evident, you know, I can see things through different eyes, you know. So one of the things somebody always asks you is like, who you, or where you come from. And before I used to be like, oh, who am I really? You know, we go to school, we taught on standardized education, you know, what everybody else to learn. But to actually step out of that box and learn where your roots come from, you know, is a whole different aspect, you know, a whole different train of thought. So 4 years ago, I took my kids out of school and I don't know why I did that. You know, I was like, oh, this is crazy. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna educate them. I still had that standard basic core subjects that my kids had to learn and study and get down. So we focus on that, but it's not our main curriculum. We actually get out. We have a bunch of us parents who take our kids actually into the Aina, and we give mo'olelo. We teach them about the Aina in that actual area, so that I can see it in the children now. They're different, you know. They're looking at where we are. I mean, so we go and, for example, we had 1 year of mo'olelo Mondays. So every Monday we would start off from one side of the island all the way to the other side of the island. And wherever we landed, we gave mo'olelo to the children. So now, like when we go down and we go visit the place, they have a whole different mana'o of that place and feel for that place. They respect it, yeah, on a different level. When we was kids, we never have that. We would just go holo holo, awana, all over the place, you know, and not think. This place was actually significant for a certain practice, or a certain art, when a certain person lived here, was born here, you know, and you respect the place on a different level. So changing the way you think and actually finding your true identity will help you as one Kanaka here on the island, especially Molokai. You know, Molokai is special, so special, you know. But lately, you know, I've been praying about it and asking like where I should focus my energy on. And after, you know, the issues that we had with this coronavirus, after it hit our islands hard, I prayed about it and I dreamt of Olena. So I went up Holiho and I was like, Mom, you know, I had this dream, had Olena all around me. And she said, why you ain't go pule, go ask, you know, for understanding. And so I said, well, I was praying about medicine, you know, how I can help my kupuna, because Mom got diagnosed with pre-diabetes, and I was like, oh, you know, I don't like to see our kupuna have to be so reliant on our the synthetic drugs in the doctors now. So I was praying about it, and I was just inspired. So I started juicing this medicine, and it's a different combination of la'au. So I've been giving them to the kupuna and been helping them. So I feel like a big kuleana I have now is to educate the children on well-being. So I was talking about, one of the focus you brought up was working towards a thriving island. So in our little group, I have a little group of like sisters that I hang out with. We've been implementing more of the la'au and planting gardens. within our little families, you know, and that way we can give our children this medicine that through God, the Aina and Kanaka, going to benefit us, you know. So that's only one of the. There's so much things flowing through my mind right now that I would love to share with our keiki. You know, I know our time is limited, but I cannot stress it enough. Just implementing the culture and traditions in our home to our children, you know, so they never forget. Because our generation is kind of, I wouldn't say forgotten, but kind of detached, you know, detached from our mama, our place of, you know, of security here in the islands. But the culture is important to me, and that's where a lot of my education is focused on. You know, my children, with the children that we associate with in our homeschooling programs, and I can see a difference in them that we didn't have growing up. You know, the malama and the kuleana and the respect that they have for the Aina now. And if we can do that, I believe that our Aina can strive, you know, and our people can strengthen. But I believe we're gonna come to a time where we're gonna have to rely on our island, our Aina, to provide whatever we need, you know. So that's basically what I have to share. Thank you.
Mahalo, Anela. That was beautiful. Again, another that we are in good hands because, you know, I kupuna too, and sometimes we take those happy pills. Well, I shouldn't say happy, but the thing is the synthetic, like you were saying. So it's good to know that you are blessed to have all of this ike and wanting to really search out things and what you can do for the kupuna, not only the present but also the past, the present, and of course the future. So mahalo nui to all of you. I just wanted to just say again before I turn the time back over to Auntie Penny, and she's going to have more questions for you folks. But just remember, a sense of belonging. Hey, pili vehena ole. Okay, a relationship that cannot be undone. Okay, like all you guys, everything you guys all shared, so connected, common thread in a lot of areas, and it's a blessing for me that I'm present today to be part of this. And then the total well-being. Ua ola loko ike aloha. Love is imperative to one's mental and physical welfare. And Anela, you're right, because one day we're going to have to get our own resources here. We not can depend on outside of what's to come in. We got to take care of our own. So mahalo nui to all of you. Ahui ho. I want to turn over the time to Auntie Penny.
The next part of this panel, we're going to focus on the sense of excellence. And it's defined as, I believe I can succeed in school and life, and I'm inspired to care about the quality of my work. A sense of excellence is demonstrated by a love of learning and the pursuit of skills, knowledge, and behaviors to reach my potential. I'm able to take intellectual risks, and I would say not just intellectual, but I am able to take risks, take chance, take the jump on opportunity when it presents itself, and strive beyond what is experienced. And I'm not sure if I like that word strive, because I know that excellence is defined as kui kanu'u, the strive to excellence. But strive sounds like, you know, like hard, like, oh, and you know, like I'm striving to do this. But to me, it's more like your path that you take to better yourself, to better the place you live in, and you're always in that on that journey to excellence. And it reminds me of something that Maupia Luke told me one time when I said the University of Hawaii recognized him as a doctor, Dr. Maupia Luke. I said, "Whoa, Mau, now you're the doctor, you're the master, you know." And he said, "No, you." It's not good to be the master of something, because that says that you know everything now. And, you know, if you know everything, or if you think you do, you're going to stop learning. And there's always something to learn. So this journey, this path to excellence is like, to me, something that is ongoing, you know, and it just gets better and better. And I don't see it as striving. I see it as something wonderful and moving on and bettering yourself in the place you live in, the people around you. So on that thought, the next part of this, and some of you kind of already answered this in answering the first part of this, you kind of addressed this as well. What helped guide you on your path to excellence, and how does that continue today? So again, we'll start with Matt.
Excellence. Well, it's funny, Auntie Penny, when you was talking about opportunities coming and making sure you jump on opportunities when they present themselves, I was thinking about the story I heard from you about how you got on with Hokulea in the first voyage. And, you know, it's like life altering, right? But it's like sometimes you get an offer to do something that might feel way outside your comfort zone. But if part of you feels like, yeah, I need to do this, it can alter your life. And to me, that's part of that journey of excellence that you're talking about. And I'll try to keep this short, but, you know, in my own life, in hindsight, looking back, I realized that every moment where I was able to grow or improve as a filmmaker or as a human being or as a fisherman or as a husband, it all goes back to taking on opportunities that felt uncomfortable, that challenge you, you know, and that push you to like kind of really dig deep and figure out how much do you really have inside of you to step up to those challenges. And then realizing like, wow, I have it, right? Like no challenge is given to us that we cannot overcome if we put our minds to it and we utilize all the tools that have been given us to that point. And to me, that is like what life is all about, right? If life is easy, then you're not taking on, you're not going down that path of growth that really is going to make life rewarding, right? An easy life to me is not a rewarding life. A rewarding life is where you constantly push yourself and challenge yourself. And you know, if I'm thinking about like we're talking to the students right now, I will say like I was born and raised in Molokai. I went to Kuala Lumpur Elementary School. I went to Molokai High School, graduated a farmer, right? But in my career in the last 20 years, because of what was given to me in high school and from the community and from my family, you know, I've been able to travel literally around the world. In the last 5 years, I've been to Puerto Rico, Australia, Japan, Cook Islands, Philippines, you know, all over the place to film stories about surfing, about other people doing amazing things, to Aloha Aina in other countries. And along the way, I got to work with people like Jason Scott Lee, and I got to meet Harrison Ford at one of the screenings of our films. And I'm not saying this stuff to blow myself up, but I'm saying this stuff to let the students know, like, you can come, we all coming from the same place. We all coming from similar experiences. And trust me, to be able to get to the point where I got to do those things, every single time it required me to challenge myself and step way outside my comfort zone, and feel really nervous sometimes and feel scared even, but then to like dig deep and be like, oh, wait, the opportunity is here because I can handle, and now I got to push myself to learn. So to me, that path to excellence is about opportunity. It's about believing in yourself. It's about knowing what your skills and tools are that have been given to you and utilizing them. And then going back to Pilina and identity, being confident in who you are and where you're from, and letting that be the strength to drive you forward. So that's my manao on that. Mahalo.
Right on. Thank you, Matt. And I'm going to move on to Val, and I'm going to keep this going. And then if we have some more time, when we power with everybody, we can go back. But I do want to hear from all of you, so I'm just going to keep this going. And so Val, you're up next. The question was, what helped guide you on your path to excellence? And how does that continue today? And I know that you kind of answered this in answering that first question. You talked about starting out with Auntie Moana, and so I'll give it back to you.
So, wow. I think what really helped me was knowing how much it was needed, and that I had to push myself no matter what, because I already took that step to continue, and wanting to try to be more cultural, because we were like a Polynesian group, Auntie Moana was a Polynesian group, and seeing all the things that Auntie Moana has done for the island, for the people, and just so much giving and aloha, yeah. I felt that I needed to carry this on for her. And I think that, you know, given all this talent that, and same like Matt, how he had traveled all over the world with us too. And we had that opportunity to travel to Tahiti many times and all over the mainland, and to Japan and to Germany. And everything was pretty much given to us freely. We didn't have to pay for anything. Everything was paid for through Auntie Moana, through the halau. And I don't know how she did it, but you know, she did everything. And so when I looked at her and I saw so many wonderful things in her personality, I always kind of strive to want to be like that. And even today, you know, and so I thought that somebody needs to carry this on, whether it's me or other people in the halau. But I thought that because I come from that genealogy, from that family, I thought I need to do this for myself to feel better, for the keikis, because they need this, and just push myself to get better at it. And of course, you know, not feeling I get intimidated by a lot of the kumuhulas that is so good in doing this. And I think someday you're going to get there. And I try to tell myself, do the best you can, because it's all you can do. And push yourself to be better for them. And so when I teach and I see progress, that's what makes me feel good about myself, because I'm thinking, my thought was always, I know what I can create. I know I can create beautiful hula dancers. That is my dream, to create beautiful hula dancers. And so I know how to take that or to do that in the way I teach. And I've seen it happen. I mean, I've seen it in our halau. I've seen what I could do, which I never thought I would do. And so the more I see the beauty in what I do, the more I push myself to do it, and just want to learn more, and just want to go on the computer and look at all these kumuhulas, Mark Ho'omalu, Keli'i Rachel. And although I don't speak fluently, you know, I learn through the kids, because majority of the kids all speak fluently. And so when they come, I learn through them, and we both learn through each other. And so if I say something that doesn't make sense in Hawaiian, then they'll correct me. And we just all work together. And so I truly love what I do. And I would never give it up for anything, because of Auntie Moana and Auntie Raquel. I think they have really done so much for me. And it's now, I think, my time to give back to them and to make them proud, to see what I can do and not think I cannot do it, because the more I teach, the better I feel when I look at what I see. And yeah, and I think that I just want to do this for this island, because I love Molokai. I love the people on this island. I love everybody, how everybody is just one family and we can all work together. And, you know, trying to build my own studio on our land in Ho'olehua is my dream. And we kind of started the foundation already. And so that's what's helping me to stick to this and not give it up, because there's so many children out there that just so want it. And so in January, I kind of started back up again in January. And then there's just so many people just keep on asking every time they see me, so when you going to start the beginner classes, and when you going to start that? And so I think that kind of helps me to push myself to start opening up more classes. And so I do all of my practices at my house, because I think that a lot of the kumuhulas, that's where they kind of start. So nobody can tell you what you can and cannot do. You can just do whatever you want to. But that's what kind of helps me to push myself to do more, is just seeing the beauty in everything.
Awesome, Val. I think too, one of the common threads I see here is that you guys all acknowledge where you came, who, you know, your kupuna, who taught you. And I liked it, Val, that earlier on you mentioned that you asked permission. You never just go, and you ask permission. And I think that's an important thing. And the other thing too is, you know, we all know that not all knowledge is learned in one school, right? So there is, you know, I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. You're carrying on. You're not going to pull what you had learned. So I'm watching the time. Yes.
So I think as hard as it was for Raquel to kind of release me, to let me go, it kind of like I felt like very kind of like disrespecting in a sense, because you know, it's family. You don't leave your family behind and things like that. And it's not that I'm leaving them behind, but I just carrying on what I'm learning, but in the way I want to teach instead of.
You're right. You're on your own path to excellence, but you didn't do it disrespectfully. And I think, and I almost think that it's almost a testimony to Raquel's teaching, that you're able to find that strength and able to take that risk.
Yes.
And move forward, you know. So thank you for that, Val. And I'm going to turn it over to Kaimana now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone so far on this panel for sharing your folks' mana'o and insights and experiences. I know it'll be insightful for, you know, our listeners, but even for me as a panelist here, it's making me kind of reflect on my own aspects of my life. You know, back on the question, in terms of excellence, I think for me, it has to do with relationships, with the connections you have with people, right? You know, I would not be in the position I am today doing the work that I'm doing without the web of connections that I've made here on Molokai, in Hawaii in general, in the mainland. And in those relationships, accountability and a responsibility to uphold the values or the work or the love and care that those relationships have had and have nurtured you in, right? You know, I can think of countless individuals in my life who have pushed me in directions that I may not have been comfortable with, or that I would never envision myself being at. You know, I didn't think I would even go to college, well, particularly in the mainland, and in going to college, playing athletics. You know, it's always a lot of youngsters' dreams, especially here in Hawaii and on Molokai. Oh, I want to play in the NFL, or I want to go and play sports at the next level. And, you know, sometimes that can be the case, but it's really rare. And so I was fortunate to be surrounded by coaches and mentors, and of course my ohana and friends who really pushed me in the direction that I had a dream for. And then, you know, even thinking about recently getting into graduate school, right? I really didn't know what I was going to do after I graduated from my undergrad a couple of months, or not a couple, several months ago. And this was, you know, in the midst of COVID too, when everybody was feeling uncertain about their future. So I was fortunate to have Hanai family up in the mainland who really pushed for me to continue what I was doing. And they said, you know what, you have a story to tell, but not only that, you have a responsibility to share your story and bring that story and those morals and all of those values back home to instill in your next generations or whoever you're sharing with, right? So yeah, I think I think a lot of people, and this is me in particular, we think that our journey in life and our career is just a straight one-way road, when in reality there's ups and downs and turns, and you might step in a pothole, you might go on a part of the road where there's no road at all, right? And I think it's because of these relationships and these connections that I've had that have helped me guide me back on that trail, guide me back on that road. And you know, if you're not accountable and if you're not responsible to those people that have helped you, then you're almost disrespecting what they've done for you, right? So it's your kuleana, it's your inherent job, right, for you to carry on that torch, that legacy, those values, those lessons. And again, like I just going back to what I was saying about belonging, that's one of the things that I try and kind of manifest in the things that I'm doing, right? Is I want to use relationships to help me grow as an instructor, as a coach, as somebody working at a university. But I don't want to be in that role of, you know, being a teacher or being a coach without learning myself, right? It's always better that you are in a situation where you have student teachers and teacher students. I love to think about it like that, because learning and growing and striving for excellence is reciprocal. It's not, you know, I'm the teacher, I know everything, you sit down, you learn, or I'm the coach, you just do what I say, right? It's a cycle of learning and growing and bonding through relationships. And I think keeping that in mind in whatever avenue that I'm in or what I'm trying to do, I think has been helpful in achieving my goals and ultimately bringing it back here. But thank you.
Thank you, Kaimana. And yes, the same thing Val said. Val said she's a student along with her students, so we can learn from each other, right? And that's what Papa Mao said. You know, it's learning is continuous. And so, Anela, you're gonna bring it home for us, and you're our last person to on our panel today.
Okay, well, it's been lovely getting reacquainted with my classmate Matt. I see Kaimana Kahale, you know, his parents have been a big influence in my children's life, and I'm grateful to have him and see him and be able to work with him. Auntie Val, you're like a mo'olelo, you know, your hula is so special because it's like mo'olelo, you know, it's mo'olelo, and you teaching with your body, and you telling the story with your body, you know, you're like a kumu of mo'olelo. That's how I see the hula. And it's special, and I'm sure you're inspired by your kupuna who left before to break away and start something, you know. And sometimes our in this life, we not like our makua don't understand sometimes, but when they leave, they see all the other kupuna on the other side that once did it, you know, and then they can come back and help you, you know, because you made that move to break away. Sometimes you have to break away, because I see a difference. Like me and all my siblings get together, it's crazy. Like sometimes, you know, we all get different strengths, we all get different mana'o. We're so different, just like my children, you know. And what Kaimana was talking about with you know, being on coach and on teacher, you know, and trying to be on the same level. It's just like parenting, you know, and it's so diverse when you have each child with different strengths and weaknesses. Like my kids, they're so different, and their strengths are so different. So I try to help channel each of them, you know, and help them work on that strength. Because what I realized is that in the school system, they weren't able to excel. You know, some of them couldn't use their strengths. Like I get one son with so much energy, you know, so he's in the mountains most of the time. He come home, he get food. I don't have to worry about that one. He vai that one, you know. So but in the academics wise, oh my gosh, I cannot. He just cannot. I've tried everything in the book, you know, to try and get him through high school. And I took him out 7th grade, and he's finally going back his junior year. And, you know, I'm grateful for Mr. Kahale, because he's an inspiration to him, because he's very, I guess he's seen his energy, yeah. So he's helping him in school. And sometimes that's what it is, you know, just moving forward with love, with great aloha, because God is love, you know. That's like one of the main scriptures of my kupunas would always say, you know, we get together, we do our pule, and everybody, the kupunas would always say, God is love. You guys never forget that. So I realized that sometimes that's the hardest thing to do is love your neighbor, you know, because for whatever reason. But if we can move forward with true love and compassion for everybody that we got to deal with, because our island is so small too, you know, I believe that we can come together and we can be so powerful, you know, in creating one future that can be prosperous. Yeah. So it takes a lot. It takes adaptive management, you know, adapting to what the future has, and respecting everything in front of us that we should be respecting, you know, because we come from such a strong cultural background for a lot of us, and moving forward with love, just pure love as much as you can. I mean, just love, you know, that's it. But I'm so glad I had the chance to be here with all of you, and I know we're going to be working together in the future. And I love each and every one of you. Yeah, and I wish the best for all of you. But I'm here if you guys need me. You know, I'm a phone call away. So if I can help in any way, let me know. Thank you, Auntie Penny, for giving me the opportunity.
Hey, thank you for being here. I wish this panel could go on and on. I don't want to let you guys go. I could listen to this for a lot longer than what we have today. It's just so inspirational, and everybody has so many wonderful things to share. But Anela, I like how you ended this, that yes, you know, love conquers all. And if we move forward with love and aloha for each other, we're going to be okay. I believe that. And I think that's a nice way to end this session today. But I cannot tell you, all of you, how much I appreciate you all being here today. This has been wonderful. It's beyond my expectations. The sharing today was incredible. Jesse, thank you for not forcing us to, but thank you for inviting Charlotte and I to do this. And I'm so glad that I think what happened here today was special, and I'm really glad that I was able to be a part of it. I don't know, Charlotte, do you have anything to say before we?
It's been a blessing. And you know what happened right here, which is so magical, is that we created a relationship. For those that know each other, that's great. But then we learn sometimes other things about a person that we didn't know. And sometimes we're not at each other's house having cocoa and cracker, you know, on the panel and for us. So the thing is, it was a blessing. And I think it's going to be very inspirational to our young, those in school that will watch and to know that, you know, everybody AO, you know, Molokai, we love Molokai, and we're proud. And yeah, it's been a magical morning. Thank you so much. It was really awesome. Okay, aloha to all of you. And remember one more thing. ʻaʻohe hana nui, nothing gonna be too big. Ke alu ia, as we work together.
So Jesse, from the HA group, do you have anything to share before we part?
No, thank you all for being here. And I'm going to stop the recording right now, and then we can aloha and ahuiho.